Welcome to the first podcast maybe even only podcast I'm ever going to do on this whole channel. But as many of you know, the man who's been my co-host for almost 2 years now, he's joining the Air Force, and I figured this would be a good time to give him a good farewell with a combination get to know the man who's kept you either entertained or disturbed along with me for the past couple years before we just properly see him off. So, Fitzy, I'd say we, oh, by the way, I'm Stefan, by the way. I'm the host of Silver Rooster. In case you didn't know, this here's Fitzy, the co-host for the past 2 years.
Hey, how's it going?
So, let's start this off right at the beginning, Fitzy. Let's go as far back as we can.
Right.
What would you say is your earliest memory?
Earliest memory? I figured that would be Luigi's Mansion, as far as, streaming goes.
Oh, no, like, just in general, as your life. But, yeah.
Oh, in life. Oh, jeez.
Trying to get to know you before
that's Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah, when we did Luigi's Mansion in 2016. That's my earliest memory.
Yeah, there's a lot of drugs in between.
My 23 years of life.
God, as far as the earliest memories, I mean, that would be living in Brook Park, and at a young age, having 4 older brothers and older half brothers, but we all raised to live with one another and deal with one another as though we were family. My 2 parents who are ridiculous and beyond belief. And White Dog.
And White Dog.
The best of dogs.
Yes. Your dog named White Dog. Tell me about that.
He's the goodest of boys. He was the goodest of boys. He lived to be like 15 years old, which is outstanding for a golden retriever. He was a stray that used to just kind of chill by a body shop that my dad worked at. And he used to bite the bumpers off cars because that's pretty hood of him.
Yeah, ran around the city biting bumpers off cars. And as you once brought it up to me, what was your dad's reaction to seeing this dog running around town biting bumpers off cars?
He must have thought to himself, that would be an awesome pet to bring home. Let's go ahead and bring him next to my newborn child.
And you were that child.
Yeah, that dog taught me how to walk.
Yeah, that dog was like your best friend.
Yeah.
He protected you.
Yeah.
He taught you everything that your parents didn't.
And now I know how to bite bumpers off cars.
What an amazing childhood. But, since you brought up your times on this channel, what would you say is your favorite thing we've done together on this channel?
Oh, as far as my favorite things to do. Okay, so it was nice doing Dark Souls because, obviously that was a game that I was already very interested in. I was already, I think through the 3rd game by the time we actually got to play the first one.
And that was my first time playing it. You introduced me to the series.
Yeah, it's a good series. It's fun times.
I'm hooked now.
Yeah, and It was a good time. However, I feel like watching you and helping you commentate through Dead Rising was a lot of fun.
Yeah?
That was a good, solid time.
I actually think a lot of people would agree that Dead Rising is the best thing you and I ever did.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, now, in terms of not series, but, what's probably your favorite joke we've ever, running gag we've had?
Oh, God. It's hard to think back on because it's like over the years we've had a lot of really good ones.
Oh yeah,
and it's just it's hard to really decipher. One of the most memorable ones that I'll never forget is kicking a skeleton into oblivion forever.
Oh yeah, that's a personal favorite one of mine.
Yeah, where just it's just put me out of my misery. God.
Oh, that definitely was a good time. Oh. Alright, so here's something I've been wanting to ask. You used to do music.
Right.
But you didn't really pursue that. Did you lose interest in it, or what was the case with that one?
Well, see, over the years of playing in different really terrible bands and starting numerous failed and also terrible bands, you kind of get the feeling that, wow, I'm never going to be very, very exceptionally good at this unless I put a lot of effort into it. And there's a lot of things you could put very little effort into it, and you still seem a lot better than everyone else. One thing that kind of got me solidified into not pursuing music was doing leather crafting, where it's just a dead art that if you're even moderately good at it, you seem really good at it because you're one of the only ones doing it.
No one else is doing it, so I mean, no one has anything to compare it to.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I brought some of my work to a group of people, and everyone was just like, "Wow, that's really good. How did you do this? How did you do this part right here?" And it's like, you know, YouTube videos.
The same way anyone else learns things these days.
Exactly. That's how I learned how to do like weird electrician work.
Oh yeah, you know, you were originally signing up to be an electrician's apprentice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, did that just not follow through, or?
It's a matter of a very, what was it called? Saturated market. There was a lot of people looking for jobs in a way that you do a free apprenticeship. Well, actually, a paid apprenticeship. So when you tell people, hey, I'll pay for you to go to school for 5 years, and then you'll have a job afterwards, making way too much money. It tends to be like, yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's a good career.
That sounds very promising.
Yeah, however, they never gave me a call back because, again, saturated market. And
do they only call, like... They did express an interest in you at first, right?
They express an interest in everyone. It's a matter of how high you test on the placement test that they have, and some people actually have like prior knowledge and like work in electrician work.
Right. Do you know how well you did on the placement test?
I think I got like a 76, but I also know people who have gotten like a 78% on that, and they got calls and they got jobs into it. But it's probably who you know and who you have worked for.
And so it's just one of those things where it's easier if you know someone who's already influencing it. Like, hey, this guy here, he's got a good head on his shoulders. He's my friend's kid, and so I could vouch for him.
I actually had one of those, but it never really got too far. It was like, hey, let me know when you've gotten the test in. I'm like, okay, I got my test in. And then nothing.
And then I got nothing, and I never even heard from him again.
Yeah, more or less. It is what it is, though.
All right. So, from what you've told me, you've always been interested in joining the Air Force.
Yeah.
But you never actually just went for it until a few years. Like, how long's it been? Like, you signed up about a year ago, and then you've just been going through MEPS and all the preparation for it, waiting for your ship date. How long have you been interested in joining?
I've actually been interested in joining for about 16 years now. My oldest brother joined when he was about 19 years old, so I was about 9. And he I guess it would have been 15 years. So he joined because he was like the all-American, athlete basically, where he was on the football team, he was on the wrestling team, he was on the swim team, he placed like 4th in Mr. Brook Park pageant. Like he was ridiculous. He was
the 80s high school star.
Yeah,
right?
More or less. For a short, stumpy, weird guy. But no, he pursued that because he was a C student. He was also not going to go anywhere with the programs that he was in. They're not, scouts weren't looking at our schools, obviously, because we're not like an all-state team or anything like that. However, he went into there and he's been very successful over the years. But when he first went in, I'm like, that looks awesome. I want to do that. Because it also means I don't have to do good in school. Even though I was like an A-B student at that point. But, over the years, life happens, Your dreams as a 9-year-old don't exactly follow through into being a, 19-year-old. And it's like, by the time I was like 15 or 16, I was like, okay, yeah, no, like I'm just going to do whatever I'm going to do. So I went, through the ranks of college and dropped out of college. The American dream nowadays. And, gained a lot of weight, got up to like 309 pounds. And it took to the point of getting down to like 280 at one point and starting to work out. After I was done working out with my original mentor and then starting to work out with you, it was like my brother came to visit, and he's like, hey, you know, it's not too late. It's far from too late for you to go into the military. And at that point, I was 3 years into working at the warehouse, and I'm like, you know, there is more to life than this. You know, I wouldn't be leaving a whole hell of a lot behind. Let's go for it. And, you know, he's like, you could get down to 220, I'm sure you'd be fine. And that's exactly what I did. I lost, you know, the rest of the weight.
It's been an amazing journey to take with you.
Yeah,
like,
no, it's been a party.
Because, you know, at the time, I was a man at resting between 230 and 240, and you know, it's amazing how making this great progress with you. You know, for the past year we've been going to the gym every day. I finally got like under 200, and you know, you met that 220 goal. You're below 20% body fat, which MEPS really appreciates. So this has been a really great journey taken with you.
Yeah.
I used to hate doing physical activity, and now any day I miss going to the gym, I just feel low on energy. You know, I need that morning workout now in order to feel motivated the rest of the day.
I feel like if more people got motivated to do that, or found time in their schedules to do that, you know, it would just be a more energetic world. You know, my mental health has gotten so much better. My self-esteem has gone up by, you know, ridiculous amounts. And, you know, obviously I've lost a good amount of weight, so my whole body just feels so much better. And, yeah, you know, I feel like I could take my shirt off in public and not feel absolutely disgusting. I still have that sweet tongue at the bottom of my stomach, you know, going... If anyone who has seen Click, but but you know, it's a matter of, you know, coming from where I was to here I am. But it's been an awesome journey. I'm glad that you came on it with me, because you're the one that wakes me up half the time.
Yeah,
so.
you know, it's what solidified our friendship.
Yeah.
It all started out on a simple you and me being in a D&D campaign together.
Yeah.
Our characters became best friends, and somehow that went into real life of us becoming best friends.
You know,
so
we played on our characters as much as we could have, as close to our actual personalities as we could.
Yeah, we really were just being ourselves in that one. We didn't really play characters as much as we were being ourselves.
It's like, let's ruin everything. And we did. Poor Mike.
Alright, so if you could have, looking back on it now, would you have just went right into the Air Force after graduation from high school?
I tend to not think about what could have been as far as what actually is, because there's nothing you could really do about what was, you know? Yeah. That's how you get through a lot of issues that you've gone through in life. However, I like to think I don't live with any regret.
Yeah, no, that's my favorite advice you've ever given me.
Yeah.
Is that when you once told me, I like to believe I've lived my life with no regrets.
Yeah.
Because, you know, that mentality of never looking back at your past and thinking I should have done this.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually a really great thing to live by.
I mean, it helps you with, like, any kind of problems you've had. You gotta take what positive you can from it. Like, I got expelled in high school. But it's like, at that point, I learned, okay, let's see how many friends I've lost over the course of, like, being out of school for, like, 6 months. And it's like, I came back to school and it was like, hey, buddy, how you doing? And it's like, I didn't hear from you for 6 months.
You didn't once talk to me.
I texted everyone.
You didn't make any effort to communicate with me during that time.
Yeah, everyone knew I was going to be SOL for a while, so it was like, okay. It finds out that it figures I only have like about 3 friends in this world.
Nothing helps you find out who your true friends are faster than being gone for a long amount of time and seeing who's still making the effort to talk to you.
Yeah, but what was the original question for that? It was
like, would you have joined the Air Force out of graduation if you could have?
No. I as far as that goes, it's a matter of I was way too immature when I was 18 years old. I feel as though joining the military when you have gone through your party phase, you've gone through, hey, I'm 21, let's go drink, let's go hit a bar. That's gone. I've gone through all of those weird middle, you know, like going into adult coming of age story, stuff. And I tried college, I failed college. Now I know to appreciate the free schooling I'm about to get. I'm about to go really hard into it. And that's like the main thing here is like I'm gonna go in. I got 6 years to get as much free schooling as I can in because I'm still paying off student loans, man. Like from the first time I tried, like it's all a positive thing going in as a older guy, and that would be like any kind of advice I give to anyone else. It's like do your life for a little bit, try to make it work, and if it doesn't work for you, which it's a system made for you to fail.
Yeah.
So when you fail, give it a shot, Give yourself 4 years in there.
I feel like we kind of are in a society that wants that like drives into your head while you're in high school that you're never going to make it if you don't go to college.
Which is so inaccurate. It's like, okay, so you go to college, you flunk out, and then you work at a warehouse for the rest of your life. Sunrise, sunset.
Yeah, it's just going to college does somewhat help you figure out what you want to do. But if you already think you don't want to go to college while you're in high school and you have like an idea of what you want to do, you don't have to feel pressured to start that immediately. Maybe like see how things go first after graduation and then give college a try. But I feel like society wants you to believe like if you work in a grocery store then you're a failure, or if you work in like any job that doesn't require a college level education then you failed. But that's just simply not true because a job's a job. If you have a job that gets you a place to live and gets food on the table, then you're not a failure.
Yeah, I mean, like for instance, I worked at a warehouse. I'll leave nameless because I don't need to put a name on it. But I worked there for 4 years, and there's I have a buddy of mine who I went to high school with. He was in the same 8th grade as me, and he came in probably about 6 months after I started working there. He's gotten to the point where he just bought himself a house, and he's single. He doesn't have any roommates, and he doesn't intend on having anything like that. He's very self-sufficient, and he just learned how to save his money the correct way, which is something I've never caught on to. But he did that. And he just got himself a house in our area, which it's not a bad area that we live in. It's not a terrible area.
It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst.
It's far from the worst. But he just bought himself a house, and it's a nice house. He's furnishing it right now, and it's a college-less. You could bounce right into it after high school kind of job. It's after a couple of years, it's about $19-20 an hour. It's like there's different stuff you could do. Like electrician apprenticeships, they're always looking for younger guys, especially out of high school when you already have all that stuff fresh in your mind. There's all sorts of stuff you can do after school.
There's always options. Like I feel like people want you to believe that without college there's not options, but there's always options. I'll always remember when someone made a post that was a joke about how I remember when teachers always used to say, without an education, you're just going to be a garbage man. Well, I just recently learned that garbage men make more than teachers do.
Yeah. I mean, it's also union, so you're about to get all sorts of good like perks and like health insurance and stuff like that. You're not about to get tenure like a teacher does, but that just means you can hit someone and not get away with it.
There's always perks to whatever job you have. It's just always make sure you know what benefits your job gets you.
Yeah, the only thing that's cool about college is you get to do something that you love. Yeah. But what I've learned from my time doing different jobs over the course of my I've been working since I was 15, is I've had all sorts of different jobs, like within the same company, but all sorts of different jobs nonetheless. You're never going to love your job. There's always going to be someone that's going to ruin it for you.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's always work.
Yeah.
And
it's a paycheck, And I mean, college might make it to where you might enjoy your job a little bit more, but at the end of the day, it's just it's a job, it's a paycheck. Get home, enjoy your time with your family.
So, this is you've been working since you were 15.
Yeah.
Is it a month you've had since you left your job? Like
I've given myself about 3.5 weeks off, and it was like the first time since I was about 15
that you've actually had time off.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous.
So it's like, have you known what to do with your time?
Not at all.
That?
You know, I probably could have taken like a week and a half off and felt the same.
You just wanted that 3 weeks to get everything you needed to do before you ship out.
And I still managed to procrastinate my time. I'm still not moved out.
I still haven't moved out of the apartment. Did you manage to get out of your lease without any trouble? Because
literally they.
I was really hoping for the story of your recruiter. You were telling your recruiter, like, hey, they might give me trouble about getting out of my lease, and it's like, well, you just let me know if that happens, because if you're joining the military, they can't hold a lease, or like any contract you have, they can't hold on you. Like, they have to drop.
Yeah, no, they
I was just really hoping I would get that story where your recruiter goes in.
Yeah, no, I wish that would have happened. It would have been a lot more time and a lot more time consuming, but it would have been a lot funnier that way. No, they have like a little clause at the bottom of one of their lease things. This place is a lot of talk. A lot of cheaper apartments, they'll usually have like a lot of little clauses that make you scared to like try to leave or scared to do anything outside of live there. Because it comes down to like, they said, oh, if you're leaving a lease for any means necessary, even military, it even had like a little clause, even military, if you're voluntarily signing up for the military, you still have to pay through your lease. They will still make you pay the whole, the rest of your lease and then make you leave.
But then it turns out that's just all talk.
That is
because I'm pretty sure they legally can't do that
if
you're going to serve it's a federal law if you're going to serve the country that they can't hold a lease against you.
Yeah, no, literally you could get out of a car lease if you really wanted to. Like, hey, I have military orders to get out of this lease. Literally, there's nothing they can do. And I went to the office, I handed them my military orders. I'm like, all right, I'm getting out of my lease. And they're like, they looked at it for 5 seconds. They're like, okay, we're going to go ahead and get a copy of this. We're going to send it to our manager. We'll give you a call. And they didn't give me a call. I called them, and they're like, yeah, no, we're good to go. You come in, sign your final paperwork. I'm like, okay.
Were they like a bit nervous about you calling them?
They were really, okay, so I went in to sign my final paperwork with my wife, and I could tell that I could cut the tension with a knife, because they even told me that's literally the only way you could get out of a lease without paying the entirety of the balance. And I'm like, yeah, no, I kind of gathered that.
Yeah. I was wondering if maybe there was like tension between you and them already due to the incident where
yeah, no, I paid 5 days late, even though like literally it says, oh, we're just gonna tack on a $30 fee or something like that. No, they put like an eviction notice on my door, and it's like, what? And I come back, I go into the office, I'm like, so what's up with this eviction notice? They're like, oh no, that's just a warning we give to people. We have to like say we're starting the eviction process, which I learned is something that they do at a couple of places, but it's like, to say that's just not a warning or something like that was like the most unnerving thing in the world. And I'm like, that could have been handled a little bit more hospitably. But anyway.
What was their response? Like, they had a negative response to you when you walked in with that, and you were like,
that's bad.
I just feel like this is a poor business practice to just immediately threaten the eviction instead of giving a warning first, right?
To which I was met with more bad business practice of, well, what, you just want us to not have you pay your rent? It's like, that's not what I said, but, if you want to be, if you want to be that way,
that's how you're going to be about this, then.
I'll put that on my Yelp review.
Before I leave. 1 star.
Yeah, right. I'll give them a hot 2-star, because, I never really had any issues besides the loud-ass people from upstairs, and, the fact that they mow grass at 10 a.m. right next to your window.
Oh, those field workers. All right, so while you were in college for that brief time, was there anything specific you were going for, or were you just trying to find something? Were you just like doing core stuff, core classes, and meeting people, just trying to find something?
I did core classes from the beginning, and I did core classes all the way to the end. It was a matter of, I went into there as an 18-year-old, as soon as I turned 18, I was able to transfer from my retail job right into the retail version of the pharmacy of that job, and I was trying to be a pharmacist at the beginning of me being in college. I was just going to get my associates in science and move up from there. And I was going to be a pharmacist. About 6 months after that, I'm like, this is awful. I hate this. I went to my first biology class, which was biology in lab. It was the most expensive class I could have taken. And I withdrew from that, like, ASAP. Like, it was quick.
Did you get your refund?
I got, like, 75% of it.
All right.
But, it was still $200 for that week that I went there. Because it was both that and a lab, so it was like, cool. No, that was terrible. I didn't buy the book, thankfully. Just probably why.
Is that going to be like an extra $200 book?
Yeah, it was not a cheap book. So I was like, I can probably try to skate by for a little bit.
And those college textbooks.
Yeah, no, but I went from that to, I think, criminal justice. I took a criminal justice ethics class.
You know what? I think I remember this now.
And I was not a fan of the ethics of being a policeman. And I was like, I'm going to choose, if there is a heaven, I'll choose to go to heaven. And,
just in case.
Yeah, just in case. I'm going to not take my chances here. Then after that, I wanted to be a mechanic or a body man for what I was going to do. And I decided pretty highly against that after working in a body shop for about 4 months and absolutely despising it. So I started working at the warehouse after that, and that's pretty much the end of my college career. That sums up about a year and a half.
Because once you started at the warehouse, there was no time to do.
Yeah, no, at that point I was already like $5,000 in the hole with college, or like I think I spent like $1,500 of that on my computer or something like that, building my PC. But still, like, at the end of it, I was like $5,000 in debt on my student loans. I'm like, you know what? That's enough. I'm at a community college, for Christ's sake. Like, I should have nearly an associate's by now.
I shouldn't be $5,000 in the hole at a community college.
Yeah, no. Let's go ahead and put a stop to that and just pick up a hardcore job.
And to this day, you're still paying that off?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to really pay it off. I'm doing like $50 a month with their little thing, so it's like with their high interest rate, I probably got another 5 years of paying that off, like $50 a month, but that's fine. It's not really like I notice it that bad.
Alright, so it's not like something they're like, hey, you gotta get this to us now. It's just like, get this to us when you can.
No, they want you to pay it off as slow as possible. Heads up, guys. Pay your student loans off as quickly as possible because they want you to pay that interest for the rest of your life.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So there is an interest building on that.
Oh yeah. Any student loan setup is going to be all interest based.
I don't know how I don't have student loans to pay off.
Yeah, no, you're doing it the smart way.
Because like I just
you're saving
save
yourself.
up the money, pay the tuition as each semester goes by.
Yeah, no, it's all high interest rates. But that's beside the point.
So there's your warning. They want you to pay that slowly. Don't.
Yeah, that's with any loan, to be fair. But yeah.
Oh, fan. So yeah, college just wasn't your forte.
No, I mean I didn't appreciate it for what it was at the time because it was right out of high school. You have that high school mentality of they'll make you do your own work, and then they don't, and then you're like, wow, I just spent a lot of money to fail.
I just spent a lot of money to drop out of college.
Yeah.
Oh man, I like how every class I've ever been in college, the instructor has always been like, hey, here's where you could buy this $500 book for $5.
Yeah. Amazon's a beautiful place, and then any used book area at all is a beautiful place.
I don't know if I can't imagine anyone actually uses their college's bookstores to get their textbooks, but don't.
Yeah, no, I did just because I was, again, out of high school, and it was like, this is your only option. I'm like, well, okay then. You have 2 weeks to get this book. Get this book.
Those of you out of high school, don't buy books from your college. There's like, they slap on an extra $100 more than any of those books are actually worth.
Just to crack open the first open on that spine, and you're like, That felt expensive.
Dude, even renting the books,
Yeah.
just buying it anywhere else is a better option usually than renting.
And then you gotta spend $20 to buy a bottle of booze to get yourself past the fact that you just spent $100 too much.
Yeah, either way, you're just in the hole.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Not get that booze to deal with
Yeah.
that?
I mean, if you're not gonna wake up in a bush after spending $100 too much on a book, then I mean, I don't know how you're living your life.
All right, so you said you wouldn't have if you had the option, you wouldn't have joined the Air Force out of high school.
Yeah.
Because you had a different mentality at the time. You
Right.
know, at the time you probably were still thinking maybe you couldn't pull it off. Was that the case, or?
It's a matter of I would have signed up for 6 years because there's a rank up that comes with signing for 6 years. Without any college education. If you have if you have a certain amount of credits, you go in, and it's a whole thing. But it would have been the same deal. I would have signed up for 6 years, and throughout that entire time, I was way too immature. I would have done something stupid. I would have either gotten myself, probably not kicked out, but I would have probably gotten myself demoted at some point. I would have really just made an idiot of myself.
Would you say that your mental maturity was a bit on the late blooming side?
I think every 18-year-old going into the military is going to be on a bit of the late blooming side. I'm going to go into basic training with an actual work ethic, with a mental fortitude towards leadership, and now that I'm 24. I'll be going in there. I kind of look a little bit older because, bald.
Yeah,
but
you shaved your head.
Yeah.
It was a fun time.
Yeah, but I just don't look like a young man anymore, and it's gonna show. And I'm also kind of a bigger guy as far as.
And when you first met your recruiter.
Yeah. He's like, "Man, you're jacked." I'm like, "Hey, thanks." And that's coming from military standards.
You were warning him I'm above 200 pounds. You were. When you first met him, what were you at?
I think I waited to see him until I was 240. So at that point I was 240, which by military standards, if I wasn't going for the tape test to get myself in on that weird clause, I would have been considered 50 pounds overweight through that way. Even though at that point I probably would have been about 22% body fat. So I would have only had to lose 10 pounds to make the weight.
But no, you were warning him. I'm a bigger guy. I'm at 240, and I think he was preparing himself for
this Chumbawamba.
Yeah, but you're a huge amount of muscle mass.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
walking in, he's just like, you did not. You are jacked, man.
Yeah, no, he was not expecting that, and he was still, he even to this day, he's like, I'm a week away. I'm not even a week away from leaving at this point. He's still like, hey man, just cut down the weight a little bit more, and I'll feel a lot more comfortable. And he's like, yeah, I'm just gonna put you down for 220, just so I can make my boss feel better about you. He's nervous about it. I'm nervous about it. And I'm like, dude, I pass tape test literally every time with room to spare.
What is the preferred weight the Air Force wants you to be at?
At 5'10", which is what they have me at. Yeah. They want me to be 187 pounds, I think.
All right, that's rough, because
that's less than you.
Yeah, I tried to get to 187 because but that just ended up being not a possibility due to the fact that when we go to the gym, we do 1.5 mile runs. We do cardio, and then we do heavy weight training.
Yeah.
And that heavy weight training has built muscle to the point where I can't fathom getting below 190.
It's a matter of wanting to be the most lean person in the world, and it's no one wants to be the most lean person in the world going to the gym every day. It's just not a reality anymore. Being this skinny, your skin's real tight on you. Your abs are probably puffing through at that point. But it's I want to have some size on me if I'm going to the gym every day. That's why you take protein. That's why you take creatine. That's why you take all these things that make you get some bulking muscle on you. But it's man, I just don't want to be small like that.
And when a few friends saw all the stuff I take, They're like, oh my god, it's like you're an alchemist. Like, what is all this?
You are an alchemist of muscle. It's like, I am a wizard. It's kill everything wizard.
Kill everything wizard.
Oh,
it's been quite a marvelous time.
It has been. It's been a lot of fun, and it's just like, going to the gym was just life changing for me, because I had my original mentor, and he kind of opened the door to me for like the world of not bodybuilding, but like strength training, and like showing all these strongman competitions and stuff.
Yeah,
and it's like seeing these enormous guys with these pot bellies, and it's like, man, these guys are fat. And then you see them like lift 1,000 pounds over their chest, and you're like, they are not fat.
That's just real muscle.
That's just their stomach trying to escape their body.
Yeah, despite how large your arms are, forearms included. Like, I don't even understand how you got your forearms to.
I've always had really big forearms. I don't know why or how I did that.
Definitely got to be something that really helps with like stabilizing yourself, just to get the better pump in.
Kind of made me want to join the Navy so I could call myself Popeye.
Despite all that, your favorite workouts are chest and shoulder related, and despite how large your arms have gotten, that fact really does show that you are a shoulders man.
I love working out shoulders, man. That's another thing I got from my original mentor, is just, wow, shoulders. Because when I first started working out, you have like a roundness, like you have like kind of a circular. Anyone who doesn't really work out shoulders at all, or do anything that involves their shoulders with lifting, you have like a roundness to you. But you kind of get like an edge to your shoulders once you start working them out.
You've also gotten to a point where you can't reach the center of your own back, though. So,
yeah, well, I mean, that's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, it's actually a struggle for you to get your hands behind your own back.
At least when I dry myself off with a towel, doing the whole behind the back thing. At least that also scratches every itch I've ever had in my back.
I can only scratch these once a day, but man,
is this good?
Is it just a great feeling every time I get to it?
God.
Alright, so there were many jobs that go along with the Air Force. You had to choose which ones you wanted to sign up for.
Yep.
I believe originally your top two were Loadmaster or Boom Operator.
Right.
What was it you ended up with?
I ended up with weather. Well, so it'd be at the beginning of it is called a weather apprentice. So more or less, you gain your certifications and such in the first 3 years of you being in there, which is the tech school for it itself. Because right after basic, you go right into tech school, and they teach you how to do your job. And this is like, it's so refined because they teach people how to do like a flight job, something that you are working with hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars worth of equipment. You're teaching an 18-year-old to use this equipment in sometimes as little as like a month. And it's like, okay, now go work with this equipment. This really expensive.
Don't break anything or it'll cost us millions to replace.
Yes, and you will not get in a horrible amount of trouble, but you will be, it will be noted. They're teaching me how to do what I'm going to be doing over the course of 8 months, which is considered a very long tech school. And after that, they have you basically doing a handheld. They hold your hand while you go through the job for like 2 years while you get your certifications. So my tech school is actually considered half of an associate's degree. It counts for all that. But yeah, like I'm going in as a weather apprentice, so I'll be basically a meteorologist by the end of my first term.
Yeah, so you signed up on a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
You said it takes 3 years just to teach you how to do all of that.
More or less.
Does that 3 years count as your 6 years, or is like as part of it, or is it after you complete all that training that your 6 years begins?
It actually it does include like it's all 6 years altogether.
All right.
So it's like for the first 3 years, yes, it's my training, and then after that, I am like officially in, and like I don't have to have my hand held, and I'm there. So the promotional system in the Air Force is like you go by pay grade, but that's pretty much what people call you. So it's like I'm going to be going from an E1, which is I think basic airman, to an E3 because I signed a 6-year contract. So after 20 weeks of being in tech school, they will be putting me at E3, which is airman first class. By the time I'm like into my handheld basically work schedule, I have the possibility of making senior airman, which is funny because it's like I will be considered a senior airman by the time I'm still in my training. So basically coming out of my training after my 3 years are up, I think a year later I could be possibly testing into being a staff sergeant. So it's like I could be other people's boss, like not really bosses, but I could be, considered higher up and have like more like boss standard like jobs after a year of doing like my job by myself. And I find that to be absolutely ridiculous.
All right, so you're going to have your 3 years of training, and then you're going to actually have your next 3 years of your contract actually doing the job.
Yeah.
And
by myself.
In that regard, once your 6 years are up, since you'll be a full meteorologist, you could just get any job as a weatherman if you...
Maybe not like a full-on meteorologist. I don't know to what extent, or like if I'm going to need a certain degree to do that outside of the military. However, I mean, at very least, I'll have the degrees and certifications to work kind of behind the scenes on it. Maybe like do like radar technician or something like that. I don't know. I don't really know what all of it entails, but it's like I'll have all of that. Plus, hopefully, I'll have like a bachelor's in whatever I would want to do beyond meteorology. Like, such as like one thing I've always wanted to do was be a history teacher. But history teacher doesn't really cost it doesn't really make a whole lot. So it's a matter of what I want to do and what I can do and what I need to do.
You have always been a huge fan of history.
Yeah.
I was actually going to bring that up about how Air Force has a college you can attend.
Yeah.
And so you brought some future possibilities you might do up to me once. After your 6 years, you were telling me you either have to sign up for more years, or if you got like you were considering just trying to get a teaching degree at the Air Force College and just being a history teacher afterward. Yeah. Do you have one that you're leaning more towards, or are you just gonna see how those 6 years start playing out before making that decision?
See, one thing I've learned about life, going through it, is plans never go the way that you plan them. So I mean, I like to keep an open mind about everything that's going to be going on. Like, I'm about to go into basic training. I might come out of that and be like, wow, this sucks. And I might go through all my tech school and be like, wow, this sucks. And there's like one of like 3 different areas I could end up in weather. I could end up in the thing that never gets really deployed, which is very rare. The thing that gets me deployed for like 6 months at a time and then 18 months at home, which sounds unpleasant, but it's better than the last one. And then the last one, you get attached to an Army unit, and you're pretty much doing their deployments, which tend to be like 1 year on, 1 year off. And I don't know the logistics of that. I don't know how maybe they do like half a year, and then they do, maybe they do it kind of the same as the other job, but I don't know that right now, so I can only assume the worst. Yeah. So, 1 year on, 1 year off. If I get set up with that, they also set you up at an Army base, and there's a reason I joined the Air Force, bud. It's because I didn't want to be in the Army.
Yeah, so
if I want to be in the Army, I would have had a much easier time getting into the military. Nothing wrong with the Army, but, there's something wrong with the Army.
There's nothing wrong with you personally, but it's you, not me. No. Worst thing you could say to someone, it's you, not me.
It's you, not me. No, but, it's all a matter of the experience. I might love what I do, and I might decide to make a career out of it. And it also depends on what my wife says. If my wife likes the life, then she'll stick to it. But she's a big girl. She understands how it all goes, and she actually enjoys her alone time.
Well, she's going to have 3 months of it while you're out in Texas for basic.
She'll get used to it. But she'll be happy for a little bit of peace and quiet. But, It's a matter of how she handles being alone, and whenever I go on deployments, because I'm gonna go on at least 2 deployments while I'm in this contract, at very least, and it's a matter of how everything goes with all that, and if she absolutely hates it, then I'm not about to jeopardize my marriage to stay in the military.
Yeah, you got yourself a nice wife there.
Yeah, she's something else.
Your wedding was a great time too.
Oh, it was
I remember the preparation for it. There are 2 big things I remember about leading up to your wedding that you said to me.
Yeah.
And it just led me to believe, you two are a really practical couple. I actually think you guys are fully gonna make it because I feel like you're getting married for all the right reasons. You didn't do anything super big for your wedding. You kept it just like to personal friends and family. One thing I remember you saying when you were setting that up to me is something that still gets me every time. And you were like, Stefan, a wedding is supposed to be a gathering of all the people I love in this world. And when I look at everyone I've invited, I came to the realization, turns out I love less than 20 people.
It was really hard to make that list, man.
I think you only invited, I think on the groom's side, there were only 14 people, your 4 groomsmen included.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could have gotten my other brothers that are out of state, and I could have gotten my uncles that are in another state. Beyond that, not a whole lot of people. It's about 20 or less.
It was great being a groomsman at your wedding. So, I'm really glad you put me up there as one of the people you wanted up there as witnessing you 2 get married.
It was a general honor.
The other thing about the preparation to your wedding is when you told everyone, hey, any money you would have spent on a gift, like a wedding gift of any kind, just give me the cash for it. I'm moving soon. And the less physical objects I have, the better.
Yeah, no. If you think of people moving their entire life, I'm talking about 2 people who have had furniture, who have literally their entire lives in boxes and stuff. You would think it's a lot. We have the majority of our stuff moved over to my parents' place for storage, and it so far is about 4 big totes worth of stuff. We're selling all of our furniture, and we're throwing away the stuff that's not gonna sell. But it's gonna be probably 4 more totes. But it's we barely need a U-Haul for what we're actually doing. We could probably take a van full of stuff, and it would be fitting.
And hopefully they send you somewhere where it will be easily movable. You don't even know. Once you're out of basic, what state they're going to be sending you to?
For tech school, they're sending me to Mississippi.
Alright, so you're going to be in Mississippi for about 3 years?
No, for about 8 months, and then they send me somewhere else for 2 years. Yeah. But, that's the only move I actually have to pay for. The rest of it's on them. So they can send me to Guam for all I care. Fly all my stuff there. Have fun with that.
I know you've always wanted to leave this state, so...
This state's terrible. You know what would be really funny though?
What's that?
There is an Air Force base in here.
Oh no!
It's what would be really nice for him? Maybe he can stay by his family, stick at my home
side.
Yeah.
No!
No, please,
please! You don't understand.
I might as well have the mob after me over here. I just don't want to go back.
Oh well, I am afraid that with that we are a little bit past the time limit I was going for.
It's fine.
I hope you all managed to enjoy this ode to Fitzy, this final farewell to him. If this wasn't enough Fitzy for you, this was just to try and get to know the man a little better. If you're new to the channel, then you don't know him, but if you've been here for some time, he's hopefully kept you entertained alongside me these past 2 years. But if you do want to get to know him better, I'll have links in the description to literally everything he's ever done with me on this channel, so you can check him out. Oh man, and Fitzy, it's been great having you here.
Oh, it's been a party, it's always a party. But hopefully after I get settled down, I'll be able to do some streams with you from time to time.
No, he won't be. He might not be gone forever. If you want to go over to the Silver Rooster Twitch channel. It'll be possible that after maybe he's out of basic, he'll be able to stream any online game with me once a week. So he won't be gone forever, but he'll be gone off this channel, and I don't know who I'm possibly going to get to be my next co-host.
Well, you just have to get someone who yells random absurdities
anytime
you do anything.
I have a lot of people that I've also had that could potentially be one, but I feel like, despite how fun it is recording with them, none of them ever really have gotten into the perfect sync that you and I have.
You know, that's the cool thing about time. It'll heal all wounds, and you'll find... Well, maybe not someone better, but you'll find someone.
You'll find someone. Well, you'll be missed, Fitzy.
And I will miss these times.
I can assure you, if anything is any true statement, you will be missed.
And one thing for sure that I will not miss is I will not have to finish Sonic 06.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'm gonna finish that one. I'm all for trying to finish Tails and Alien Isolation, but you know. Yeah. The fun of Sonic 06 came from the fact that it was you with me, and I just don't think that's replaceable.
Yeah, my deep hatred of everything Sonic.
Oh, well, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you want to see more podcasts, I guess maybe I could do something similar with this to try to get you guys to get to know any of the other people I've had on this channel before. So let me know who you'd like to get to know better, because I gotta find out who's going to be my more frequent guests now that Fitzy's dropping down from the co-host sign. Well, it's been good, Fitzy.
It's been a good time
as always. Well,
right.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I want to close this out, so I guess with the usual outro. Love you, mean it. Click.